Amazing the diversity, you know, out there.
Yeah, well, absolutely. The type of firm that you choose is very important on a number of reasons. And a lot of people, a lot of businesses believe I got to get, you know, the biggest firm that I can afford
Right.
to get them out there. There are definitely benefits. There are definitely benefits to large firms. They could throw a lot of bodies onto a project.
Yes.
There's a wide diversity of experience they could relate to and draw on.
Yeah.
They can respond to mountains of discovery requests, things of that nature. All of that, of course, takes funds.
Yes.
Lots of funds. And one of the things that's interesting about what you said, I think it's a good point, is a lot of the client base of those firms are corporations that have regular, ongoing legal business going on. So that if one matter doesn't work out so well, they're going to keep the same firm for the next matter, and then the next matter, and the next matter. So of course the firm cares about that client and doesn't want to lose that client. But for smaller firms, we really, I think, have an identity with our client, that we know that it's beyond this case. We want to make sure they're making right business decisions and not just spending money. We have many, many times clients come to us and say, we want you to go after this guy for us and sue. I say, well, what's the end game? What are we going for? Are you going to be able to recoup these costs? Is this a target worth pursuing? Are you going to win? Are you know, is it going to cost you more than your claim is worth?
Right.
Because we have that eye that we want that person to come back to us and be there for us.
Exactly.
The next time, it's
Right.
like, hey, thanks, I remember that you talked me out of that, and it ended up being a good financial decision.
You're not in it just for that one hit.
It's not the one hit. It's got to be long term for us because we want to sustain our relationship, our client-based relationship. That can only come, I'm telling you, can only come from you building it up yourself. A guy who goes out of law school, no experience, great grades, etc., goes into one of these white shoe firms, and now does 5
Is that what you call it? White shoe firms?
They're called white shoe firms.
How about that?
Back in the day, they wore white shoes in the summer, that type of thing. So Wall Street firms or white shoe firms.
Okay.
They would go to these large firms. They don't ever get to handle a case themselves. They handle one small nugget of a case.
So
One
their perspective is
particular
actually
issue.
pretty narrow.
They have no perspective, very little client contact,
Yeah.
and no idea of what it takes to keep a client happy, to generate business for the firm, to keep the firm going. So they
It's just like legal mechanics, really.
it's really
A little cog.
That's it. And when they meet somebody who's a business startup in particular, they have no relationship. They have nothing to draw back on and say, I know what this guy's doing, I know what he's going through, and I know what advice I could give him to help him along the way. And that's what we really try to focus on, is we don't think just about the case. When you bring a litigation matter to me, I'll look at that litigation matter. If I spot things that are in your business that are relating to that caused that to happen, maybe bad contract language, maybe poor negotiating skills at the beginning, maybe you didn't, think the whole thing through before you chose this particular vendor, things like that. So we don't just say, fine, we'll fix this problem, thanks, nice knowing you. We try to help you avoid the problem in the future. That's really important for us.
The one thing I'd like to put a little more light to is you say that you're a small law firm, but the truth of the matter is, it's not like just 2 of you. You actually have a support staff.
No, we're
you have a lot of infrastructure, and so I just don't want our audience members to get the wrong impression. Because you've got a toll-free number, you've got a website.
We have a number of offices.
Yeah, you've had right.
Sure. Well, understand something.
But it's all relative.
It's all relative.
Exactly.
We're in New York.
Right.
Okay. There are.
What'd you tell me about New York?
If you can be a lawyer in New York, you can be a lawyer anywhere. It's the place to succeed.
Yeah, I learned that from you.
Well, the other thing that's really important is you see the way they categorize law firms. In New York, okay, when, for example, various legal magazines put out the numbers of lawyers and the lists of law firms in the city, here in New York, a small firm is specifically defined by less than 50 lawyers.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
50 lawyers?
Right. So 50 to 100 is considered a mid-sized law firm.
Imagine the jokes you can make about a law firm with 50
for corporate
attorneys.
Right. Well, Matt, we have litigated against firms that have thousands of lawyers with offices around the world, and there are a number of those size law firms. That's a large law firm in New York, is a firm that has, I'm going to say maybe 15 offices nationwide.
Wow, that's amazing.
And offices in like London and Paris and perhaps Australia, things of that nature. Mid-sized firms are about 50 lawyers, is what they consider a mid-sized firm.
That's huge.
That's why when I say we're a small firm, in other communities, we would be considered a mid-sized to larger firm.
Right.
But here in New York, we're a small firm, and that's how we like it. Again, the phrase that we use is we're a litigation boutique.
Right.
We keep things simple, we keep it small, we
Fast.
focus right, we respond quickly because we can.
Yeah.
And most importantly, we're effective.
Right.
And it's not only cost effective, but legally effective. And you get the same type of lawyer who could work at any one of these other monster law firms. That's not the issue. So it's that level of expertise and excellence, but we keep it tight so that we can relate to the client. The client absolutely feels that the firm is part of their business. And we grow with the client. It's like fantastic.
Right.
I love it.
It's like you said, sometimes there are some pros to hiring a large law firm, but if you want someone that wants to do more detail or do more surgery, if you will, use a scalpel,
Sure.
Precision work, I'm thinking a small firm will be much better suited
Right. Look,
for that kind of thing.
If you're
much more customization
Exactly.
and things like that.
If you're Microsoft and you want to sue Google, you're going to need 100 lawyers on that case. You're going to need 100 lawyers.
Absolutely.
It's too much work. It is too complicated.
It's two giants
big,
going after each other.
and you have to throw bodies at it. There's no question about it.
Right.
You're building a 40-story office building in Manhattan.
Oh my
Okay?
God.
And
the paperwork involved
right. And
will be a
there's
killer.
Exactly. And there's contracts to negotiate with the unions, with the city, with subcontractors. Okay, understand. That's what big firms are good at. That's what they can help you do. When you're a startup or a small or medium-sized business, there's no need for that.
Right.
And just
It's
the
overkill.
opposite, it's counterproductive.
Right.
It's worse than overkill. It's just going to suck the money out of you, and you're not going to get a
Yeah,
result.
money is it's a true issue with small business people.
Litigation claims,
Yes.
and mistakes in how you set up your business transactions can put a real drain on any small business. And that's
Well,
one of the
some
things
people could bankrupt them altogether if you're
Sure.
not careful.
So it's part of the thing that I love about what I do is that we're always trying to help people become successful and avoid these kind of problems right at the beginning.
Well, thank you very much, Oscar, for taking a few
talking
minutes to share your background, where you came from, and your law firm. I think a lot of our audience members will be appreciative because, I'm a big believer. I want to know who I'm dealing with, and not only do I want to know who I'm dealing with, I want to know where they came from, and I want to know where they're going, and I believe that other people feel the same way as me. So, I really appreciate the time.
Anytime. I appreciate talking to you. It was good meeting you, and we'll see you again soon. I'm
Okay.
sure.
Thank you for tuning in to this video, and we'll see you in our next video.
Thank you.